Hey guys, it's Big Sexy with Big Sexy Outdoors. If you guys want your bucks big and sexy like me, you guys gotta get yourself some of this product. Big Sexy by Domain. This stuff is rich in radish, material that will just grow your horns, keep your deer here, and make your hunting season fantastic. Get yourself some.
Always with that damn shotgun.
I don't know what it is, man. My phone just goes off. There's nothing I can do. I'm an important person, I guess, in this world.
All right. So, what do we got going today?
Well, today's subject is a pretty big subject I've been watching the last few days. If you guys check out this picture right here, you can see that I'm not going to rat out the guys. I won't rat out the post. If you guys want to find it, you can look for it. So I don't want to cause the guy any issues. I just want to use his photo as a topic. So if you guys check out, this guy has posted, he has shot a deer with a crossbow at 58 yards in the back of the head. And the topic of this now it becomes ethical versus unethical.
Is a shot like this or something similar an ethical or an unethical shot? And it was that picture as well as this one.
Well, that was kind of the pictures, one of the pictures thrown out there as unethical. What can happen?
Right. That's what I was saying. These are the ones that really spurred this topic for us to bring it here. I still swear to God, that's the same arrow I use.
I'm going to blame you. I'm going to blame you. I got to lie. I seen you shoot. That might have been you.
Maybe that was you.
So we got some guys joining us tonight. Guys, you guys want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Brandon Deshane from upstate New York, just below the Adirondacks, but above the city. So we hunt a lot of big pressure deer up here in Rensselaer County, and have been in Rensselaer County pretty much my whole life. Moved a couple different places within the county, but hunt everything from the mountains to city limits that we've got permits for, and ag and nuisance permits. Little bit of everything. So yeah. That's pretty much my hunting deal here.
Okay.
I'm Michael Browning, Southwest Oklahoma, and there's not much down here. It's open plains, flat. I mean, just flat as far as you can see. Wheat fields, some scattered, wood lots of timber, but that's about it.
I bought some horses down that way and hauled them all the way back here to New York where they were worth money,
Yeah.
Oh man, too funny.
So guys, we have one more guy. I'm waiting for him to pop in, but we're gonna start without him, and we'll get him in as soon as he's ready. Mike Chapman from that same post was looking to join us. First, I want to start off by saying thank you very much for commenting on our post and joining us tonight for the show. So I super appreciate it. One thing you will see is hopefully in your comments on the right side of your screen, I believe they're on the right side for you guys. You should see others join in. As they join in or ask questions to us, any of us, Chris will pop it up in the bottom of the screen, so you guys will be able to see.
So we'll be able to answer any questions asked. Cool. But I did put the link out there if anybody else wants to join in and weigh in on the topic. Again, as long as you're respectful, you're welcome in.
Yep, we can allow up to two more. Like I said, we have one supposed to jump in. We can allow one more guy in. I think it's 6 total, Chris, or is it 8 total?
I thought I had 10.
Oh, maybe it's 10. Okay.
We'll go play poker game here.
Yeah,
we'll go man. That's why he does this. So, guys, you guys see this picture. You commented on the post. I don't care which one of you start first. What's your thoughts on it, on the whole post in general, and then give me your thoughts on what you think it is.
You want to go first? You want me
on the back of the head post?
Yeah.
So, man, I don't know. It's I think it all comes down to the individual pulling the trigger.
Absolutely.
Crossbows, the equipment is there. If he's proficient, I think it all comes down to the individual.
I can agree with that. I think I'm not going to bust on the guy, but I believe that 58 yards might be a bit of an exaggeration in my personal opinion, or it was a miss that went right for him. I don't truly believe that he was aiming for that shot at 58 yards and made it happen like that. I do believe that there are crossbows out there that are more than capable. There are compound bows, there are rifles, there are all sorts of things that are more than capable. Um, is he as a shooter capable? I don't know. I don't know the man, you know. I know that what I see there is a darn good shot that was put on a buck and down he went, you know. I believe, like I said, I believe it was either a miss that went right for him or he's off on his yardage and just trying to boast a little bit. Either way, the deer's dead, you know, and it worked out for him. So more power to him and congratulations on that hunt. You know, I mean, good for him, and it worked out. So, I mean, I'll let you guys talk a little more on it and what you think about it. But I do believe it boils down to knowing your equipment and knowing shot placement, knowing the surrounding areas, knowing what the deer is going to do. And I mean, I can dabble a little more on my personal experience, you know, after letting Mike talk here. I don't want to hog the camera on you guys, but so yeah, that's my opinion on this particular post.
So what are you thinking, Mike?
All right, so I kind of lost everything right there, and I got kind of glitchy. So I didn't really hear much of anything, to be honest, on that one. I had to left the site and then came back into it.
Well, it's okay. So let me give you mine, and then you guys, man, chime in, jump in. Chris has his own opinion. That's why we got you on here. Is everybody kind of has their own opinion on this post and on the subject of ethical and unethical. And I just like that we can use this guy's photo as a topic in the subject. So here's mine. Mine is I would never shoot 58 yards with a crossbow. I wouldn't shoot it with my compound, and I wouldn't shoot it with my crossbow. I would never shoot at 58 yards in the head. Now, if you gave me a rifle, I have already shot him in the head. I'm not going to lie to you. I've done it.
Absolutely.
So, you know, the question of, say, this post in general, is this ethical or unethical? It's really a no-brainer in this sense for me. For me, the deer was dead and didn't suffer. So it was ethical. Whether I liked it or didn't like it, it doesn't matter. It's just, in my opinion, it would be unethical in the sense of it's something I personally would never do. So I think ethical and unethical for me comes down to a matter of just your own personal opinion and what you think you can do.
Yeah, what your gut tells you can and can't do. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that 58-yard shot, in my opinion, did it really happen? I don't know. I wasn't there. You know.
Yeah, I think that's more of a. I think he's trying to get people riled up on a 58-yard shot.
Absolutely. Let's boast an ego, man. Let's just throw that right on the skillet and fry it. You know.
Throwing gas on the fire.
Absolutely. Would I shoot him in the back of the head at 20 yards with a crossbow? You're damn right I would. You know, if I had the shot and he's leaving me, he's not broadside, I'm gonna take him. You know, I was actually having this discussion with my wife last night about this podcast, and I said I've killed a lot of deer with headshots. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, and I'm proud of it. I mean, they died right there in their tracks, no suffering, no meat loss, no BS, no nothing. They just died straight up. But I knew my setup. My setup was perfect. Everything was under 17 yards. You know, and I just see a comment on here about bad publicity for archery. Distance makes a huge difference. Knowing your equipment makes a huge difference. Running heavy broadheads, running stuff that can work versus stuff that won't work. I would never take this shot with a mechanical. There's no way. It would never happen for me. But when I did hunt for the city with a friend of mine, you know, and I won't name what city we're in because I don't want guys going, oh man, they were killing all these deer down there, you know, and it was in a park, man. I mean, there was some guys that got called on. There was blood everywhere, you know, and this was one of those things where when we hunted for that, we took headshots and they dropped right where they were. But I was running a 220 grain grizzly single bevel broadhead with a monster heavy weighted gold tip arrow off a Martin bow that was drawing 75 pounds. And I mean, I plummeted them and they never moved. And that's what happens. That's not the setup that I'm running now because I'm not hunting that city anymore. But that is one of those deals where, nowadays I'm typically running the Grim Reaper broadhead, the whitetail special, cutting 3-inch holes and double lung and heart shot and things. And I've taken plenty of other shots that people say are not ethical, where you drill them through the scapula with a big broadhead like that and hit the heart. They go down. They just go down and die. I mean, it's about knowing your equipment, in my opinion. I don't know where our buddy went here on the post, but
he said he had service on and off, so he'll be back. There he is.
I got you.
Yeah.
Right.
I say the kind of same thing, like how Barnesy said, if it was an accident, there's no reason to post it in a boasting way.
Absolutely.
I don't know though. Like, if you made a good lucky shot, wouldn't you say, "Look how good I am at it"? Because who's going to be there to prove it wrong, right?
Right. I mean, yeah. I think that's exactly what happened. I think that he probably was aiming for a high neck shot because he didn't have a broadside, and either that deer was a little further than he thought, so he aimed high, or the deer tucked his head down low and he just took him in the back of the skull. Yeah. That's my opinion on what happened in this particular post.
But like you said, I wasn't there either. It's
exactly.
I think he probably hit where he was aiming, but he wasn't at 58 yards.
No, maybe
either
20.
that too. Yeah.
Maybe he had his head down in some corn.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, as far as ethical or unethical goes, this one, it was an ethical kill. It was an unethical distribution of what should have happened.
That's how I feel.
I believe that is probably the best way to put it without hurting anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
I do think that headshots are ethical kill shots if you have the shot and you know your stuff. So, some people don't, and I understand that, and it's the moral compass of what you've, I guess, been dealt. We're all a little different. My gut tells me something different than your gut tells you to do.
Like if you had
I'm fat. My gut says I'm hungry. I'm just saying.
That's normal. I just ate, man, so we're good. We had venison pastrami and potatoes for dinner, man. It was perfect.
But yeah, if you had like dozens or hundreds of hours of training with your bow, like a Ted Nugent kind of style, you're going to look at the shot differently than somebody who's brand new, barely practiced, if they practiced at all. So that's what we don't know about this guy too. Did he spend 200 hours shooting this bow, and he knows he can drill it and drop it on a dime?
Yeah, I mean, there's a video of Tim Wells shooting like a mountain tar at 120 yards with no sights, freehand in that thing, and he drills him. I mean, I am not Tim Wells. I know that.
No way. He's awesome.
I mean, he's an awesome guy, but he's definitely made some bad decisions as far as I'm concerned in the publicity of the way they hunt, spear hunting and things like that, and then broadcasting it. Even Brother Ted, I mean, that man, the minute he became the head of the NRA there for a little while, I had to take a step back because that man doesn't know when to stop, and well, we could say that about a lot of people that have been put in a figurehead position, but
that's true. That is true.
Yeah, we won't even get into that, but
amen to that. I'll tell you. Been there, done that. See, I know Mike here. Mike, you've been sending us some pictures, man.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
So I don't want to go off the subject of ethical and unethical, but I do want to say that I watched some of your photos come through, and of course I forwarded every photo to Chris and said, check this out, because that's what I do. But, when he was talking about the mountains and the city limits, and you were kind of over there smiling like, man, all I got is flat fields. But by your photos, your flat fields look like you're doing okay.
All right. A whole lot. All right. Try that again.
We got him?
I think so.
It's probably his service. Sometimes the service on certain places is terrible, and then they cut in and out.
Well, ask him again.
All right. How about now?
All right. So I said I was watching your photos. Yeah, it's better now. I was watching your photos, and when he mentioned the city limits and all the mountains, you kind of laughed and said, "Oh man, all we got is fields." But I watched your photos come through, and it sounds like them fields might be doing okay for you.
Yeah, it's not too bad. You just gotta be in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
I told Chris, I said before we end this, we got to show some of them photos because I think even Brandon liked to see some of them photos. They were.
I'm sure, man. It's beautiful, and I've been following a lot of guys that are hunting all over the place. But upstate New York is a pretty pressured area. We have a lot of deer getting bumped and moved around all the time, and to see a 150 class buck, um, it's rare. I mean, you don't see maybe western part of the state where there's not as many hunters, a little more flat land, a lot of stuff like that. But where I've grew up and where I've been hunting, 150 class is a real darn big buck. I mean, and I shot a 145 class last year. Beautiful 8.9 3/4 inch G2s on him. Gorgeous deer, 21.5 inch spread. And he dressed 201. I mean, he was an absolute monster for this area. And, I didn't have to drag him far, but God almighty, just dragging him that 180 yards was a pain right in the ass. I can tell you that right now. I mean, it took everything I had. So, but, we hunt a lot in the mountains, or I do, and it's public land. Just about everything I've hunted has been public land or permission from cities or permission from landowners, knock on door stuff. Never leased anything, never really actually owned any big property. And any property that was owned by a family member was just access to more public land where I grew up in the Berkshire Mountains. And I wouldn't even really call them mountains. They're not the Rockies. They're smaller than the Catskills, but they run along the Mass, Vermont, New York border. And you got to hike back in there, man. You got to get in there to get a big one. That's for certain. But getting back to the topic, I guess, not trying to run on with it here, but
that's all right. Hey, listen, man, I brought you on for conversation. I love conversation. Yeah. I love that these are from different areas of the United States. And feel free to. I'm all in for whatever we want to talk about. I just thought that picture was a beautiful way to start a conversation.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think, like we've been saying, is just the fact that I think it was it's boasting his ego is what it's doing with the yardage, the shot, the whole 9 yards. I mean, that's why the post blew up, right? I mean, there was some ego involved there. There was some running, Everybody wants to know the magic. What happened?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you read any of my comments in it. Mine weren't ignorant in any way, but the one thing I said is we have to stick together as hunters.
Oh, absolutely.
And we, whether this guy's boasting or whether this guy is whatever.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're all hunters.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they're trying to take our rights from us. They're trying to take our hunting, and they're trying to take our firearms, and they're trying to take all this stuff from us.
Oh,
and the moment we throw each other under the bus and just drive over each other, we're going, how about her, buddy? Here it is.
Well, that's been the crossbow craze forever, right? I mean, they just want to tear each other apart over a crossbow. And I'm going, man, I don't care if you use an AK-47 out there. I do not care. It doesn't matter. We're all in this for the same reason, to put meat on the table and enjoy the outdoors. I don't care what you carried with you in the woods.
And ethical, as for ethical, the bottom line for me, and again, I know what I would shoot and not shoot. I have a Matthews Adrenaline. I've practiced with a million times. The issue is I don't have the time to practice to feel I give the animal the correct
shot. Yeah.
Right. So I have crippled them even when I was younger and shot 50,000 shots.
Yeah.
I crippled one. I crippled the biggest buck of my life. I almost cried.
I mean, straight up, that's hunting, man. Shit happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hunt geese. We hunt ducks. We hunt squirrels. We hunt rabbits. We hunt everything. And I mean, maybe some people don't hunt half as hard as I do, but we've had flyers fly away with a busted wing. We've had geese run off in a field and not find them. We've had bad shots on deer. Shit happens. Mm-hmm. You chalk it up to a learning experience and an act of God. I mean, that's just how this rolls sometimes. And you do your best as an ethical hunter. You do your best to make the best shot you possibly can. And sometimes the dice just don't roll your way. And I mean, that's just life in general, period. But I mean, I've made bad shots. I'll be the first to admit it. I've made bad shots. you have to get over it. You have to go to sleep and know that, hey, listen, man, there are coyotes out there for a reason. I mean, I truly believe that there are things out there that just happen. I mean, it's no different than one getting hit by a car going down the road. That person might not even be a hunter. They get busted up, live crippled their whole life. It just happens.
Mm.
So the unethical thing, I think, is if you don't know your equipment, you don't know what you're shooting. I do not trust. I want a crossbow. I said I'd never buy a crossbow ever, and not because I don't like them. It's because I've got too much money in my damn compound set up to bother spending more money on something different. And so I happened to win one in like one of those, Powerball type number games or whatever that you buy a $30 ticket from some sportsman's club, yada, yada, yada. And I won one and picked it up, shot it a few times. It's cool. That 145 class I shot, he was at 20 yards broadside, and I double lunged the hell out of him. And he ran 30 yards bleeding all over the place. And he died. I mean, straight up right there. But I had a beautiful broadside. Why would I take a headshot on that, possibly smack up an antler or anything like that? If he was going away from me, I probably would have took the next shot. It was a good buck, especially for our area. But do I trust my crossbow to run that thing way out there and try and do that? Absolutely not. I'd rather shoot my compound bow. That's just me. Everybody's equipment's different. Everybody shoots different. That's just the way it rolls.
He should have it in his phone.
So, Mike, I know you're cutting in and out, but here's a comment for you, and you can look here. It says, I think unethical is the opposite. Knowing your equipment and knowing the odds of a success are low, but taking the chance anyways.
Well, again, yeah.
And again, these are comments from viewers. This isn't us. This is just people watching.
Yep.
And
so what do you think about that, Mike?
All right, try that again.
It talks about thinking that unethical is the opposite. It's about knowing your equipment and the odds of a successful shot. Well,
give me 1 second. We're switching from a cell phone to a laptop.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, Chris, while he's switching, there was something you wanted to say. What did you?
Well, actually, it's pretty much what Barnesy is talking about here. Is I think the idea of whether it's an ethical or an unethical shot is going to be whether or not you can take this shot or not. If you know that, or even if you think you might not be good enough to take it, and you do it anyway, that's what would make it unethical.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you've trained enough and you know you can do it, then take it.
Yeah. Messenger on it. Log in.
Absolutely.
Again, I wouldn't do the 58-yard shot. Now, does everybody have a? Because this post smelled to me like a fishing story, the big one that, and that's what I was thinking about it. But no, I wouldn't take the shot. But if you're skilled enough and you know you can do it, take it. Whatever, don't hurt my feelings any.
Yeah, I mean, I think skill of this shot. I mean, maybe I don't know where this deer was shot. I don't know the gentleman who shot him. Mm-hmm. But here in New York State, you're not allowed to bait. All right, there's no baiting of animals, and to me, baiting of animals is unethical. That's just my personal opinion. But you know what? There's lots of guys that do it. There's lots of guys that kill big bucks. I mean, there's guys that kill 200 inchers on a bait pile. Okay, more power to you. But you knew exactly where he was coming because you put stuff there. You weren't hunting, you were sitting. And then you just dial in your equipment from there, right? Mm-hmm. So if this deer was sitting on a bait pile and he's 58 yards with just enough angle on the backside, and he takes that shot, boom, he's got him. That deer wasn't going to move. His nose was buried in corn, or cherry powder or whatever the heck they're feeding these things sometimes. But for me, 58 yards, there's too many variables. There's just a lot of variables there.
Yeah.
But
that's a good comment. Dude, it's like this guy's reading our minds. Listen, hear that.
Yeah, even if your best shot in the world at that distance, many more variables come in. That's what I was thinking too. A stick you don't see, like a little limb, a thin branch you don't see. The wind can just inch it off that little bit. That's why I highly doubt it was 58 yards.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
So that's just.
I mean, I'm not a storyteller, but I did shoot a penny one time at 100 yards with my slingshot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, man. Cain killed Abel with a rock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
So you never know. But I wasn't there to see your penny shot. But hey, I'm not saying you didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I glared at an elk once, and it actually killed itself on
Just
the plate.
fell right over. Just ran off a cliff or something.
Yeah,
well, I don't think that was a staring. I'm just saying. Have you seen him? I just think it was like holy shit and ran the other way.
Well, I did notice Mike's thing keeps coming on and off over here. You know.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably what that is too. Mike's like, I can't stand it.
I can't take this guy anymore.
But yeah, I mean, so
I think I got the audio figured out, but not the video part of it.
Okay.
I like the red dot, Mike. You look really good red like that.
It looks like that clay in Oklahoma.
I do my best work in the dark.
Yeah. Is that with a spotlight or without?
You got to be here
Depends
for
on
that.
where you are.
Yeah.
I can do around.
I think he just offered us a hunting trip down there. That's what.
I don't have to outrun the game warden. I just got to outrun you.
Yeah. Well, you got that easy, Mike. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Big Sexy don't run. You're good.
Yeah.
Listen, game warden showing up, I'm a track star. All right,
Yeah.
I can say that right now.
So, you know, in the subject of ethical and unethical, you brought up bait. So that I think that continues the subject because
Right.
Here's a question for you. Now, Mike, can you bait where you're at?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good. I wanted somebody that can bait. I didn't even know that just works out then. So
yeah, it's perfectly legal down here in Oklahoma.
So hunting over bait. Have you hunted? I'm sure you hunted without bait, or have you done that your whole life?
Yeah, we've done both.
So how much better does it how much easier does it get with the bait pile?
Man, I wouldn't say easier is the right word.
Okay.
Everything's a little bit different. Like you still got to play the wind. You still got to be in the right locations. You still got to, know your equipment. You still got to make shots. You still can't, just because you have a feeder, you can't go sit on the feeder every single day. It doesn't work like that. Like this particular deer that I killed, it took me 2 sits to kill him. And he showed up 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, he made probably 4, maybe 5 appearances. There we go. He made maybe 4 or 5 appearances. He started out real late and started coming earlier and earlier. I hunted it with the south wind. Didn't really know which direction they were coming from. The first night, nothing showed up. Nothing. The very next day, we had a cold front come through with a north wind. Hunted it, had 5 bucks and 4 does.
Now, would you say? I mean, I would imagine with it being so damn flat there in Oklahoma that wind is playing a bigger factor for you probably than it is for me here in the mountains. I would bet that almost anything those bucks would be patterned by the wind direction. Would that be?
That's a fair statement. Predominantly, we have north and south winds. It's either 100 degrees or freezing cold. That's Oklahoma for you. There's we have 2 seasons. That's it. We hardly have a fall and a spring. That's it. Like tomorrow, it's supposed to be 32 degrees. The other day, it was day before yesterday, it was 91.
Oh. Yeah. I was there in October a few years ago. We were in Snyder, Oklahoma, headed for like the panhandle of Texas over that way.
Right. So where you were at in Snyder, some of these pictures that you're showing through are you probably went north on Highway 54.
Did. Yep.
They're in that area, right there.
Cooperton. Yep.
Where I killed mine, where I killed the one that we're talking about, him, and actually there's another picture in there from my harvest last year, big wide one. They both came from the same sit, same stand. That's just east of Snyder.
Okay. Yeah, that's the way we kind of came in.
There's some mountains. They're not even mountains. They're like hills.
No, they're rock hills. I know, because we were driving through there. First time I'd ever really been through that area of Oklahoma. And I was like, oh, look at the mountains over there. And the closer I got, the more it looked like a rock pile that a couple of triaxles dumped on.
That's right. That's all it is, man.
So we were kind of laughing about that, but it was pretty funny, you know. But I feel like we have a lot of change in wind where I am, because there's so many bowls and hills and hollers and small rolling mountains and different things, and we're not allowed to bait in New York State whatsoever at all. I mean, that's felony charges here. It's no joke.
Right.
You get caught over a bait pile, you're done. I mean, they take.
That's the way our state land is here. If it's a WMA or the state has anything to do with it, if they fund it, if they help manage it, they go in and grade the roads, anything like that. If it has to do with the state, you can't bait. So baiting is strictly for like private lands. There's some city lands, like if there's a town near me, they where we get our water from, local lakes. It's surrounded by what's called city land. They follow state regs, because the state has nothing to do with them. But like I said, on WMAs, core lands, anything like that, no, nothing.
Yeah. Which, you know, I commend you for being able to kill deer out there with even out a bait pile. You know what I mean? They're gonna see you coming or smell you coming way longer before me. I just got a harder hike. That's the only difference. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing right there, is we're up and down hills and in mountains and bowls and finding different terrain and working through the thick. Like I said, to kill a 150 class here is I mean, it's no easy feat. It really isn't, unless you're in the western part of the state where, you know, they've got it so mapped out with different cameras and all sorts of stuff. And, you know, oh, this 12 point's been rolling through here every night at, you know, 4:30 in the afternoon, ready to rock and roll. And at 4:31, you kill him. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes in certain areas. But where I'm hunting, you know, I don't want to say we got a lot of thieves, but we got a lot of thieves like anywhere. They'll steal your tree stands, they'll steal your cameras, they'll steal all your shit, man.
I feel that.
I won't put stuff out. I just won't. I don't need to. I've been able to pattern bucks. I've been able to pattern deer. I've been able to find where they live, and you know, get into spots where they're comfortable, and hopefully not get winded. You know, be cautious enough and scent free enough to not get winded, and kill bucks at close range. And we kill does too. I got no problem killing a doe. I got no problem killing a doe.
No, not at all, man. Not at all. I shot one earlier. That was the first one I tagged this year was a doe.
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky enough with the produce farms around here. I've got a friend that we get tagged, so we're hunting, you know, middle of August right through September with a rifle and a spotlight till 11 o'clock at night. I mean,
right?
They let you do that here in this state as long as you have the permits and are signed off as an agent.
Yeah, so that'll happen down here, but it's real rare. It's real rare before they'll issue like a deformation permit.
Well, we got better soil to grow better crops. You know what I mean? As far as that goes in my
And that's
area.
the thing. Like down here in the wintertime, we've got wheat fields and cotton fields. Yeah. That's it. You won't find a cornfield or a soybean field down here, hardly. I mean, we get, you know, we'll have the entire month, 30 days straight, nothing but 100-degree heat, 20-mile-an-hour winds. It burns everything up. It just doesn't last. I mean, that's, you know, another huge factor, I think, where feeders do come into play here, because I mean, it's corn, it's crack. I mean, to a deer, they can't turn it away. They're not gonna turn it out. Yeah.
Crap,
we don't have the big ag production. We don't have the big ag fields.
Yeah.
So
we'll have an alfalfa field. We got a wheat field.
I don't want to interrupt you. I think that's a good point. So, you know, we brought up feed and where that plays factor in the hunt. And, you know, here, I know PA here, we're up in the mountains where we got the Appalachian trails run through us. And so the thing is, we got corn at the bottom of all our mountains, almost all our mountains. We got corn. We got farm fields everywhere. So, you know, now you say something as simple as baiting and you ask yourself, what happens? You know, would that be considered the same? So, in my
opinion, it is.
Right.
I mean, it's just not in a barrel. It's not in a 55. It's not in a 55-gallon barrel. I mean, you hear about it all the time. Farmers they won't cut one corner of the field to make where the deer come in one corner, or whatever it is standing, they'll go in and they'll brush hog just one corner to put the corn on the ground, so that they are there in that localized area. So I mean, it's kind of to me, it's like that double-edged sword. It works both ways.
Yeah, and hearing you talk, I've never talked to anybody who can hunt over bait. I won't lie to you. Like, I've talked to guys in Canada who hunt bear over bait barrels and those things, but we do a lot of our stuff PA and surrounding here. So I've never really got into deep conversation with someone who can hunt over bait. And hearing you talk and where you're at and what goes on, I think that's a good one for our viewers, is to hear it's basically the same setup. What I'm hearing is, as I can sit off a cornfield where someone just went through and shelled corn and dropped it all over the ground, is really no different. So, I mean, the only thing you may have by listening to you is you may be able to contain maybe where they come from a little more, where, the cornfield is 50 acres. But it's no different in the sense if I find a trail running into the corn, it's the same scenario.
But see, I ask for stuff like that go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
Because I don't know the area. What would deer be there if you didn't bait? Again, I'm not saying anything wrong with baiting.
Like I plant food plots. I plant a winter. It's not even a food plot. It's a kill plot. It's for the winter.
Yeah.
I mean, we plant winter wheat. We mix it: winter wheat, oats, turnips.
The bedding areas to these bucks are going to be within a quarter mile.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, every which way. We hunt the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're drawing from a long distance. Is that you're basically just trying to draw these
thing down here? Yeah. So down here you might only own 5 acres, or you might only have permission to hunt on 5 acres. The guy next to you might have 8. The guy next to him might have 40. It might be leased across the road on a half section that has 6 other hunters on it. To your north might be another 3 or 4 guys, and then to your west there might be another small acreage. Every single one of them guys here is going to run a feeder. They're going to. So it's not just, I can slap a feeder up in the middle of my pasture and I'm going to get, every deer in the county to come by. It's not like that. You're still in competition with, every other hunter that's within rock throwing distance, pretty much.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and especially playing the wind. I mean, I know up here for me, hunting public, scent control was a big thing.
Right.
And that's a huge thing, and I'm sure it is for you too. But your neighbor might not be, so then he might blow those bucks off to 3 other plots before they even get to yours.
And to be honest, so where I killed this big buck at, I had very, very minimal deer activity all summer long. I ran this feeder all year long. I got one big pig on camera, one big one. I mean, I'd say he's north of 350. And in Texas, every February they have a hog hunt, and it's fair chase, polygraph, you name it. Last year, first place paid out $77,000 for one pig.
I'm in the wrong state.
And yeah, he was over 400. I know mine's not that big, but I want him to eat as much of that corn as he possibly, rice bran as much as he can, and he was keeping everything away. He disappeared for about 3 weeks, and whenever he was gone, I finally started getting deer to show up, including that big one. And now he's back. He's actually back. He's there right now. I can look at my Tacticam, and he's there right now. But once he disappeared, like I said, that deer showed up probably 9:30 the first night. He left, came back at 11:30, and I got excited. Man, where did this deer come from? Because again, I've ran this all summer long, no velvet pictures of him, nothing. He just showed up out of the blue. Then he disappeared as quick as he came. And then he finally came back. The season had already started. Our season starts October 1st. And I know some guys hunt to the east of me and to the south of me. And I just thought for sure that's where he came from. I think they had him on camera, and they tried to get in early in the year. We had those south winds like we were talking about. And I think they may have pushed him, maybe missed him, or just pushed him out of his place. And he pushed him to the north and to the west towards me. And like I said, I think he may have found something he liked, just kind of stuck around, knew it was there. There's another smaller buck that he was running with, and he came every night while he was gone. And that's when I really thought that maybe, he had already been killed. Then he showed back up. So I think that had a lot to do with it. I really do. I think the guys to the east and to the south of me, I'm pretty sure they probably have pictures of him. And I think that, they just pushed him out and not hunting that place, not pressuring it. I know season just started, but only hunting it, those 2 sits. Like I said, that first sit with a south wind, didn't see anything, went right back the very next day, had a north wind, and a whole slew of them came in.
Yeah.
So I want to ask something, if you don't mind.
Sure.
We're talking about bait, right? Which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see any difference, ethical difference between baiting and scents, scent bombs, scent blowers? You know what I mean? How is that different from baiting? Because you're still using something to draw them in, to distract them in order to get a shot. How is it different than baiting?
So in my opinion, baiting wise, there's 2 things that keep anybody else from doing it. I think one of them is the geography part of it, where we're at in the country, the state that we're in allows it. The other part of it is the legislative part. Mm-hmm. The state says, hey, you can do it. My state says yes. Your state says no. Mm-hmm. And I mean, man, somebody can tell me till they're blue in the face. Somebody can tell me they're blue in the face that says, oh, if my state lets us bait, I still wouldn't bait. Okay, you say that now until them neighbors to your south, to your east, to your west, and everybody else is dumping out, 100 pounds of corn every other day, and you're not seeing crap. I guarantee you're going to change your way of thinking.
I would.
To me, it's those two factors.
I'd carry a wagon with the crossbow.
Yeah, if they said it was legal, I wouldn't lie to you. I'd be in there with Kool-Aid and corn. I'd be mixing the whole concoction there for them. Right. I'd put a sign up that said over here. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. Neon flashing sign with a big old arrow.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm straightforward. I mean, if it was legal where we were and I could do it, if it can make my life easier, hell yeah. I have kids I hunt with. I've passed up many.
You'll see in the pictures that we sent. There's my dad. You'll see one of the last pictures I sent you. My dad killed a little 7-pointer just the other day, and he's over 70 years old. He don't get to. I think that's probably his 2nd archery deer that he's ever killed.
That's awesome.
He killed it. He killed a doe 2 years ago with his crossbow with me in the stand with him, and then this year he shot that little basket rack, probably a 1.5 year old deer. Man, he'd have been beautiful at 3.5. But I'm not not one to tell anybody what they can and can't do. I wish he wouldn't have. Like, don't get me wrong, because I hunt that property. But at the same time, it's whatever makes you happy. If your heart's beating, that's what you want. Take it, man.
I mean, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, that's truly what it's all about is the thrill of it, the sustenance we get from it. We eat everything. I make a lot of stuff here. I mean, we literally just made a venison pastrami roast. It's been in my fridge for days here, and eat a lot of them. So, I think for me, the baiting end of it, I know you say that everybody in the country says that, but I hunt a lot of public land where that would still not be a legal thing. I don't believe, even if the state allowed it to happen. So, for me, I don't think it'd be a game changer, to be honest with you. If tomorrow my state said, you know what, you can go drop as much corn out there as you want to. That being said, I lease a small farm for my personal horses because, we live within the city limits, and then I lease a farm about 20 minutes from here. And I do put in a small food plot, more or less as a freezer filling food plot. You know what I mean? I get those coming through there, and I enjoy watching.
Kill plot,
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. It ain't nothing more, nothing less.
Right. I'm not trying to raise them.
That's it right there.
Yep.
And there's a big plot next to us. Probably, I guess it'd be 250 acre field. But there's probably, I'm gonna guess 50 acres between that field and my farm. that the deer hang in that I do not own, I do not lease. The gentleman who does own it lives in Florida. And it's either get them from the standing corn to my food plot. So what do? I offer them something different. We give them turnips. We give them
Right.
we give them stuff like that. And I got does showing up all the time. Killed 2 off of it last year. And that's what as far as freezer fillers go, that's where I'm at with it. But other than that, the public end of it wouldn't allow me to change the way I hunt anyways. Which
right, and that's the way our public land is here. Most of it, and about 95% of the public land in our state that is, it's affiliated with the state in some way, shape, or form. You can't do nothing.
Yeah,
I think you can put a mineral block as long as it doesn't contain like any grain or like corn or any kind of additives or anything like that. But like a trophy rock or something like that,
yep.
I think those are legal. I think the
it's
state
so
allows
funny
those.
because our state doesn't allow it, yet you go to every damn country store around and they'll sell you a big bag of
Right, you can,
deer corn right on it, and
Yep.
and they sell you the trophy rocks and the what the hell is it, the Khmer deer, the crack cocaine for deer, or you put it on a stump and they eat the damn stump. And
Right.
I don't think our deer are hurting that much that they need to eat a stump over some crap that you put on it. But hey, who knows?
And see, that's another thing. Like you talk about the deer numbers, we don't have that EHD and CWD down here. And I think that's a lot of, I think that's, the backbone of a lot of the whole baiting issue is saying, hey, we don't need to spread, diseases through our herds and this, that, and the other. We just don't have that down here.
Yeah, that's been New York's plea for years, was the CWD, because we did have a good couple years stretch where it just reaped through here. And I mean, it made a mess of the deer population. And actually, the past 2 years, we all kind of laughed over this whole COVID deal and, deer COVID and all this crap too.
Right.
But the blue tongue deal was a real thing south of me. Probably, I would guess, about an hour south of me, Columbia County, Albany County, Greene County, south of Rensselaer. They were dropping bucks. I think they counted 137 130 class and bigger bucks laying in rivers because they were trying to get water because they couldn't drink. Right. And they were dropping dead left and right. And it was the EHD blue tongue, or whatever they want to call it. And their numbers just plummeted. And now, just this year, driving around, starting to see the deer come back for them down there. But you're not seeing any big bucks because they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it wasn't through hunters. And you can't use the meat. I mean, they were compromised hard. Luckily, it didn't come that far north for us. And we lucked out and still have a lot of good bucks. But, they were hurting. And it really affected that hunting community, So it's one.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Speaking of not using the meat, and this is something I've been wanting to ask a whole bunch of people. And it's a good thing we're on the ethical, unethical thing because it's not just that shot. I've heard up here where we're at that there are farmers who will go out and they will shoot the deer on their property. Just let them lay, kick them into the bush.
Oh, it happens everywhere, man.
Red tag, man. That's what farmers do. That's their living.
But that's what I'm saying. Would that be more ethical than just saying to any hunter, sure, come on here as long as you're not destroying the property?
So down here, that doesn't happen. With the deer, with elk that's out off of the refuge, that's on private land, that doesn't happen down here. A farmer sees that as dollar signs. All that is if they've got high numbers, they can charge you an extra $2 or $3 an acre to have it leased out.
To have a lease there.
I would do that.
Absolutely. What happens here is the numbers are so high and we're producing produce and I'm not going to name names, but a friend of mine, that's what he would do. And he would shoot him and throw him over the bank because he's not a venison eater. I mean, that's, and they called it Death Valley. I mean, he had a small spot where that's where they went, no matter what they were. And they only allow so many agents on. This is a state-run program. This is not, you can just come hunt my land, because I got all these deer and I'm having problems with it. The state actually has to issue you permits to be on this land, and you're allowed 5. And when you fill those, you call in and you get another 5, and they keep going like that. But you get 4 or 5 guys on there, and you're allowed to spotlight them till 11 o'clock at night. I mean, you can kill deer, man. I mean, that's how this goes.
That's our pig situation down here.
Yeah. So we have that, and it is a livelihood thing. We were talking the other day with this friend about this, and one deer bites 10 pumpkins in one night. Each pumpkin's $10. At the end of a week, $100 a night. That's $700 a week. That's only one damn deer destroying 10 pumpkins a day. I mean, and some of them pumpkins are $15, $20. But if he wrecks them all, takes a bite out of them, and he can't sell them wholesale or at his farm stand, then that deer just cost him in one season how much money? Thousands of dollars.
You're right.
So for him, it's better for him to shoot that thing and throw it in a hole than it is to keep him having him out there just costing him money left and right. And damn it, with the price of
dollar signs,
the price of fuel, price of seed, price of everything, how do you make a living?
Yep. I agree with you, but I don't agree
with that.
Here's my issue. I'm with you. My grandfather was a farmer. Chris and I's grandfather was a farmer. I'm with you. And here, I don't know what you call them where you're at. They're red tags here.
Yep, so they're red tags here too. They're
right. So they get so many tags, and they can issue so many and go through.
Yep.
And so I actually lost a red tag a few years ago because I took my 7-year-old son out with me, and I said, I talked to the farmer. I want to bring my boy. He's not going to shoot. I will, but I want him to experience it and be part of it. He said, no problem. And this is just an example of a few things here red tagged it. So we were sitting there. Here comes this doe out of the corn, 40 yards away. There we sit with a rifle. I mean, it was like put on a platter served with gold. I mean,
it is. It is, no doubt.
And I said to my boy, I said, hey, are you ready, buddy? He said, yep, I'm ready, Dad. And I said, hold your ears. So as he holds his ears, here come out of the corn this fawn that was, I mean,
yeah,
it needs its mom teeth to still live,
Absolutely.
So I didn't shoot it. I told my boy, I said, it's up to you, but Dad thinks that one needs its mommy yet. And my boy said, don't shoot it, Dad. We'll get another one. Well, the farmer watched us pass his deer up.
Yeah, and he kicked you off, didn't he?
Yeah, he revoked their red tag because I didn't kill it. So I get it, but I thought it was shitty. Now, here's the other thing with red tags. So these guys are shooting these deer, and they're just letting them lay in the woods, and they're throwing them over the bank, however you want to call it, because that's what they do up there. They do the same thing. If you work in the farm, you can kill them. So why are they not giving this meat to people? Why are they not? That's my issue with I get it. I understand it, right? But half these farmers butcher cows, butcher pigs. Why aren't they like, hey, you know what?
Hunters for the hungry.
Yeah. I mean, why not do something good with it?
See, that just kind of started to be a deal here in Oklahoma. They'll do, I think it's like, I don't know, Hunters for Hungry or something like that, where you can go out and just guys that want to go hunt, they could shoot a doe or shoot whatever, and they take it to the processor. But the thing was the funding to get it paid for, because the state has to pick up the bill, or they were asking the hunter, hey, you cover $50 of it or something like that. Well, me personally, I'm not going to go spend 50 of my dollars just, on a deer that I'm not going to have. I think the state, like our state in particular, can do better in that note, as far as, the whole processing and distribution part of it. With the meat, I think if they had that better in sync with things, I think that it would be a lot bigger a thing. I think you would have a lot more guys out there, plinking does off just for that, because, like right now, I killed a doe and then I killed that buck. Well, I still want to go hunt, but at the same time, I just don't want to go spend my time, spend my gas, just to go sit in a tree and watch things go by. Because now I'm like, well, my freezer's not looking too bad. Do I go spend another $120 to have another doe processed? it's just one of them deals. Now, if it was being taken care of, or if I knew a family that says, hey, I'll take it, this, that, and the other, I'll pay for the processing, I'll use my tag, that's a whole different story. But I think our state, that's another one of the gray areas where I think our state can do a little better and shine a little more light on.
I can agree with that. I also think, the reason why they're not giving it away is, usually when we're getting our red tags up here, it's warm. And I know it's not warm like it is in Oklahoma, but 90 degrees, you want to be cutting a deer up. Even at 80 degrees, you want to be getting it cut up as quick as you can. Most of us are used to hanging a deer for a few days or sending it to a processor in a cooler. Most of our processors don't open till October 1st up here. I don't know about you guys down there, but
it's same for us. It's same.
If it's a deer processor, they're not opening until the 1st of October, and then it starts. The bodies start piling up basically. So I think why these farmers, they got other crap to do, man. I mean, straight up. So if it's going to cost them time, going to cost them money, going to pull time away from stuff that they need to get done with the weather permitting, and it's hot out, they're not going to do it. And I can't blame them for not doing it. I mean, they're already, thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars into a season that might be really shitting on them hard. Or maybe it's prospering. Who knows? But they're not going to spend the time and money to go doing stuff like that, especially when you can go out and shoot one a night, 2 a night, 3 a night, 4 a night, 5 a night, where we are. It just is what it is.
Worded like that. I'm feeling where you're at. I like having you guys on here. I love having the either from different areas with different opinions, because that's I've always been struggled with. We throw them away, and worded like that, put like that, as a guy who does farm as well. It definitely does, open up to me a little more that I get
well,
it.
You know what you do when they say, "Oh, we throw them away." You go, "I'd love to be an agent next year," and
that's point, what we've tried.
That at that point when they go, "Hey, listen, we just throw them away because they're just destroying our crops and costing us money." I mean, my buddy probably says that they're costing him 20 to 30,000 a year. I mean, that's just wild to me. Some people don't even make that kind of money. You know what I mean? And I mean, right now, if you don't make $30,000 a year, you're hurting. But it's one of those deals where when something's costing you that much, and then now you put $7 a gallon diesel fuel into it, to run a tractor down the field to do stuff, and seed is this much, and fertilizer's tripled, and all this stuff. To lose that kind of money, you're already losing money. Your profit margin's gone. You're going to have a hate on. I mean, my friend truly has a hate on for deer. I mean, he hates them. They don't care what they look like, how big the rack is, how small they are. If they got spots, if they got 3 legs, he doesn't care. He hates them. And he doesn't eat them. So that, he'd rather eat a beef, and that's totally fine. There's a lot of people like that. To me, the ethical end of that is, man, that's pretty screwed up. I'd love to be an agent, and he signed me on, and we harvested some deer out of there this year. So it was good for me. It was a win-win. Did he take a couple of them and throw them over a bank? I'm sure he did. I don't know. I mean, I actually do know of one that was just a god-awful shot, and we had to finish it off. We won't even talk about that because that'll get people crying here.
Good, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a little rough. He goes, "I think my gun's shooting a little off," and I go, "Yeah, no shit, buddy." But we won't even talk about that one. But it's just one of those deals where if it's gonna hit their bottom line, they're not gonna do it, and I don't blame them. But it's not hurting my bottom line to fill my freezer off of them. So I'd love to be an agent, and you just get signed on and go from there. So, that's my take on that deal. We have a couple other produce farms around that hire, other ethnic groups that come up from the South, and I'm not hating on anybody, but with the programs that they have, they're entitled to feed them. So they get a little few more nuisance permits, and a lot of them are running these nuisance red tags to feed the families that are working for them. Picking groceries, or picking produce and all that good stuff. So that's a good thing. That's the one thing where it does happen, the way it should. but there's a lot of farms around up in this neck of the woods, and there's not a lot of rules. Let's put it that way. And when there is rules, they drop the hammer on people. So it means somebody really screwed up. The one thing with the red tags is obviously you're not allowed to bait them, but you don't have to. I mean, they're there. They're destroying
Right.
every damn night. And that's just how that goes. And, back to our original post here, I headshot 2 of them this year. It happened. I had good shots. Had a spotlight on them. 10:30 at night. Bang, bang, done. None of them ran. I didn't have to chase them in the dark. It was awesome.
Right. Those are the good ones.
Those are the great ones. When you don't have to chase them in the dark, it's absolutely great.
Barnes622 on the side here, guys, has commented, are either of you guys able to hunt Sundays? I need to PA is one of the only 7 states that still don't allow it fully.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
We can hunt 7 days a week.
I can hunt 7 days a week, and if there was an 8th, I'd probably hunt that day too. There's other states you can't buy beer on a weekend. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard too, man. Their revenue would go up so fast they don't even know what the hell's going on. I don't understand why PA even does that. I think it's probably a religious thing eventually, originally. But yeah, no, we definitely are allowed to hunt Sundays here.
I'm not sure that part.
That's the one day that you really get to friggin' hunt,
Yeah.
So
another issue, like another deal that we face here in Oklahoma, especially, is like Indian land. That's a whole nother ballpark. They're fortunate enough they can hunt. I think year round, as long as it doesn't leave the property. A whole different. It's just another can of worms on itself. And that's like where I'm at. When when you came through Snyder, down here in South Oklahoma, that's a lot of that is tribal land. A lot of it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're without any special permits or anything like that. They can use a rifle March 1st, April 1st, October 1st. It doesn't matter. Our state for deer season for the state is October 1st through January 15th. We get 3.5 months for archery, and then our gun season is only a couple weeks long. We have a muzzleloader season before that.
Muzzleloader's 10 days.
About 10 days for that, week and a half for that, and then we'll have the antlerless weekends during like the Christmas holiday to try to get some more does taken out. But for archery, we can hunt, and that's all I do. That's all I do is bow hunt. We can hunt from October 1st through January 15th.
Well, that's pretty sweet. Our seasons are a little less up here, but I guess we don't really have a problem, obviously, with the native lands down there. I don't know if where you guys are in PA, the Amish though.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard crazy stories about the Amish up here.
Well, let me tell you about the Amish. The Amish go out there with 30 guys, and they drive the shit out of everything they can find, and they literally kill whatever walks.
Yeah. That's
I don't mean it's smart. That's what happens with the Amish. They've taken spots that we've hunted. Chris and I ourselves have hunted for years, and they have destroyed them.
Cleaned it up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard that from neighboring areas, a little west of me. I'm a farrier and blacksmith by trade up here. So I travel all over the place shoeing horses up here and whatnot. And west of here, we've got quite a few Amish settlements that have come in, and my friends and clients are going, hey man, we ain't got no deer. We ain't got nothing. Hey man, our turkey population's like gone. And literally, I can honestly attest to this. One time I was shoeing a horse at a guy's place, just probably an hour and a half west of here, and we see 20 Amish guys come out of the woods with rifles in their hands. That's onto his land, and before we could even get out there, they were gone. They were like ghosts, They rolled up like the Confederate Army and rolled right back in the woods just the same. And they were taking stuff out, And you heard rifle shots going on, didn't think anything of it. But, it is what it is. And I think that, different places obviously have their trials and tribulations, It's not like people think it is on TV where we got trail cameras out watching 200-inch deer, ripping around. I mean, maybe you get to see some better deer down there than we do here, but for me to set trail cameras up through the mountains, man, that'd be a whole week affair. It wouldn't even be worth my time. I'd be better off scouting in one day, just hiking my ass off and finding where these bucks are hitting, finding scrapes, finding breeding areas, bedding areas, feeding areas, and going in and just, hopefully actually even, people talk about not wanting to spook deer, but I actually do want to spook deer here and there when I'm scouting because I want to know where they are and what they're doing, why they're doing it, when they're doing it. So that I can kind of pattern where they'd be. And if I'm seeing does pre-rut and into the rut coming rolling in, I know there's going to be a buck in there somewhere. So
no, I will say I like hunting the mountains because, I mean, what my longest shot would be like maybe 40, 50 yards because you got pine trees all over, right?
Yeah.
But I would like to go down to some place where it is flat open and just see a 100 and 200 yard shot, just to see somebody take one of them.
Yeah,
that's a chip shot down here.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can see. So one of my feeders on our farm up north, it's 620 yards from the fence post, which is by the mailbox, to the feeder in the corner of the field. And my uncle, he clipped a doe underneath the feeder from that far. So I mean, it's a long range. I mean, if you're into that thing, that whole 6.5 Creedmoor and flat shooting rounds and everything else, that's a whole another topic. But it's a shooter's dream to be down here. You can, like what I said, I'm an archery hunter. The stand again where I killed that big buck, that's probably the one stand that I could probably shoot to my heart's content in. Everything else is 30, 35 yards tops.
Yeah. I have a couple spots here in New York that, actually my ag nuisance area from one end of that guy's field to the other, and it's planted differently. This first 20 acres is squash, the next 20 acres is cucumbers, the next is pumpkins, the next is this, and it just rolls on, and then there's standing field corn, sweet corn, whatever. From one corner, from his barn to the corner of that field is about 625, 650 yards, somewhere in there. We put a rangefinder on it one day. But I'm not shooting that shot in the dark. Like, that's not going to happen. I don't know where everything is. I don't know. There might be somebody wandering in the woods. You never know. So, I mean, I think my furthest shot this past year during nuisance was probably right around 325-ish, somewhere in there. And I know that's a chip shot down there too. But for here, that's a pretty long shot. And
300's about where we're at. That's if you hit 300 up there, you're shooting far.
Yeah. And we're maxing out on 300 because there's a lot of houses. There's a lot of land, but there's a lot of houses, and you don't know where they are. And the way things drop off and climb again, you don't know what your backstops are. Luckily, I knew exactly what was behind the ravine where this deer was kind of standing. Just a big old hill that rolled over the backside. And there are houses on the backside of that 3/4 of a mile away, but it's a big hill. Like the bullet's not passing through this hill.
Right.
And my furthest shot, probably, I'm going to guess between two public state land mountains, it's about 450. And I pulled that shot off. And it's not an easy one, though. I mean, that's a 300 Win Mag that I'm shooting for that. 150 grain bullet, and just using Hornady match grade ammo. Nothing. I'm not loading nothing. I ain't got time for that crap. These guys get into crazy stuff. They're loading this and doing that, shooting 1,000 yards. I'm not shooting 1,000 yards. I'm shooting 450 is my furthest shot, and I don't even need to do that. Most of my shots are within 100. And it's awesome, but finding the deer is the biggest thing I think here, and we're not seeing them coming from a mile away. Usually, you're right on top of them.
Yeah.
By the time you get there, you're jumping them, maybe making a running shot, or you've done your prep, you've set up, and you know where they're at. So, that's
how it was last week for me when I got one. We were watching them at 75 yards out in the field, and then the guy I'm with, Bill, he goes, "It's coming right behind us." So sure enough, it was 15 yards away coming through through the trees, and I had to quick whip around a tree to nail it before it hit the field, and you couldn't get it anymore. I mean, I got it, of course. But.
Yeah. I mean, I hunt everything a little different. You know, my archery season is a stand hunt deal for me. And to be honest, a lot of my archery season these days is scouting preseason for the peak of the rut opener rifle. And to be honest, I haven't hunted hard archery this year yet at all. I mean, I've been on the stand maybe half a dozen times, but it was BS sits, you know, playing on my phone, seeing if things were going on here or there, whatever. Seeing if anything actually rolls through, seeing if I can't get a pattern on a mature doe that would love to be bred by a mature buck. You know what I mean? Where's she going? Where's she heading? Where's her fawns heading? Are they going this way? Are they going that way? Because that's gonna lead me in this area to find where the bucks are. Where's that doe heading, and why is she heading there? So for me here right now, archery, you know, the freezer's full from nuisance ag permits right now. So I'm not worried about filling the freezer off the bat. And if I go the whole season without shooting the buck, so be it. It is what it is. I'm not hurting for it. I know where they're at. If I want to shoot a buck, so just something with horns on it, I can go find one. But I think that the different seasons play out different. My rifle season is usually a run and gun season where we're hiking the mountains and trying to find big bucks and trying to find where they're at and shooting a good one. And then muzzleloader season for me is a freezer filler season for my father or other family members or friends or whatever needs to be done. People in need. That's a freezer filler season for me. So at that point, I'll shoot a smaller buck that I would not normally take during regular season. So
two things. One, you guys talk about long distances. After looking at the original post we pulled up, looking at that, I just want you to know I've shot a flea off a dog's ass at 700 yards.
It happened.
And yeah, bullshit. My farthest shot's about 300 running. I had a bunch running.
You running or the deer running?
Oh, they were running. My big butt wasn't running. I assure you. And one of you guys, I know we're getting close to show end here. Yeah. Didn't I see one of you guys have a post up of a Labrador Retriever? Was that one of you guys?
Anymore.
Or was that the guy who didn't show up?
Probably the guy who didn't show up.
Because listen, I was just going to show you. I got 12 little puppies that were born 2 weeks ago, hunting labs. Oh my God, they're the cutest things in the world. I can hear them crying in there. The mom must have just got up. They're going crazy in there.
You're funny, man. Are you in Oklahoma allowed to run them with dogs?
Not deer. We can pig. No. I got buddies that run. You know, we'll run dogs for pigs, but we can't run them. We can't run the deer. I just got
sidetracked with that. I know, like Southern Florida, Georgia, and those areas, they're allowed to run them with dogs and stuff like that.
Yeah. We see. You know, we'll all see the videos on Facebook of people, you know, running, you know, shooting deer on a run with, you know, hounds on their ass end, but not here.
Yeah. See, it's highly frowned upon. We're actually allowed to shoot anybody's dog that is running deer.
Really?
In New York State, absolutely. It is disturbance of wildlife, and you are allowed to shoot the dog no matter what, no questions asked.
See, ours isn't worded as for wildlife, but for livestock. And, you know, people have horses or cattle or anything like that. If somebody's dog is, you know, nipping at a horse's heels and he's getting tangled up in a fence, you got every right to pull the trigger.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go, Chris. If your dog pisses you off, call these guys, take them out there.
I mean, you can just shoot them. I won't tell anybody.
Yeah.
That's usually what it is. You just shoot and don't tell nobody.
Just say, "Oh man, he was chasing that deer." Oh,
I hadn't even seen your dog. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, whose dog?
That's what you do with game commission too. It's just, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I never got a fine.
You can post pictures. You can post pictures and you shot him at 70 yards in the back of the head if you'd like, with a recurve. Do what you got to do, but oh man,
I super appreciate you guys getting on. We usually try to stick about an hour limit, but we've been going deep in conversation. I sure wasn't going to stop us.
No, it's all good.
I super appreciate you getting on. I absolutely love that you guys are. Well, you're part of the Hunters team, I call it, which means you have your own opinion. You have your own things, but you are respectful to the next guy. And honestly, that's kind of why I reached out to you guys. I watch comments. I was telling Chris, I watch a lot of comments go through, and I watch a lot of people be ignorant. And I thought, son of a, we cannot be those people.
Right.
We've got to stay together. No matter, we can disagree. We can even agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
But in the hunting community, we have to stay together. And I pretty well reached out. I had about 20 people message me, but I reached out to you guys because I seen your comments, and I thought these guys are what I like to call the part of the hunting club, and that is, you stick up for the hunter, what we love more than you'll degrade somebody for doing it.
Oh, absolutely. I find it really funny, the ego trip that comes in with some of this stuff for people. Shit shaming people for small deer, big deer, whatever, shooting does, shooting fawns. To be honest, man, I don't care what you take if you're feeding your family with it. Or if you're happy with it, then why am I not happy with it? I didn't pull the trigger, I didn't waste a bullet, I didn't waste an arrow, whatever.
That's not my tag. I'm not worried about what you did with yours.
I didn't pay for that tag. And I think it terrifies me actually that people will shit shame kids and old people, and I don't want to say old people because that sounds terrible, but the older generation of people who just can't get out there and maybe get it done the way some of us younger guys can, and just totally tear them down for a harvest that was hard earned, for them, or just maybe even a learning experience. I mean, I'm sure all of us started with a small deer, and if you didn't, it might have ruined you. You know what I mean? You've been chasing that big one, and you just trying to get a bigger one, and you go seasons without harvesting a deer because you're like, man, I just got to get a bigger one, and sometimes that doesn't happen. I put an antler restriction on myself of a 6-point. With at least a 12-inch spread on him. He's got to have a 12-inch spread, and he's got to be at least a 6-point for me to take him. And that is my personal thing. And I've taken smaller bucks before, and then once I started killing some bigger ones, they got to be at least, a 110 6-point or bigger. And you're still working for those deer here. There's no doubt about that. But to have people tear other people down over their harvest is so dumb to me. And I'm not.
I think a big part of that. I think the big part of somebody pointing the finger at them and saying you shouldn't have done this or you should have done this and this, that, and the other. I think a lot of that is like regulation based. So like Oklahoma, I'm allowed to use a feeder. I'm allowed to use a feeder. I'm 38 years old, able-bodied, baseball coach, you name it, and I hunt with a crossbow too.
Yeah.
So because the state says I can. Now you can take someplace from Timbuktu that can't use a feeder, and you got to have a medical reason to have to be able to use a crossbow. So because it's okay for me, you're going to tell me, oh, I'm a piece of shit, or I'm not a man because I'm hunting over a feeder using a crossbow. I think a lot of that, shaming and the point and the finger pointing. The underlying deal is it's okay for me. It's not okay for you. So now I've got to take out, my frustration, my issues on that being the case. That's where I think a lot of that that's kind of like the line in the sand. And what it comes down to is that legislative part of it.
Yeah.
They can shame me when they get back out there with a spear and, go full.
And there's guys that are, man. They're nuts. They're nuts.
I got a self bow. My buddy made me an Osage self bow, and that's one of my goals this year is to be able to shoot. And I don't care what it is. If it's a spike, I don't care. Still spots and dots. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. But I think that's a lot of it. Like you see the guys, shaming the elderly or a young kid for even shooting a spike buck or a raghorn or whatever you want to call him. I think it just comes down to, because you have a point restriction or you have a minimum spread, wherever you're at, because you can't kill that animal doesn't mean that, Susie can't.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big issue that they're just having to deal with what the hand, you got to play the cards that you're dealt wherever you're at. If you don't like hunting in Oklahoma, move to New York. Or if you don't like hunting in, Wyoming, move to Texas. If it's that big of an issue to you, I mean, it's just, like I said, play the cards that you're dealt and just roll on.
I think when it comes to kids and elderly, I don't give a shit if you shoot out the back of your truck. I'm not going to lie to you.
I don't care if you hit him with your truck on the way there.
The problem I see is we end up losing too much of the young generation now.
Yeah.
So the young generation isn't built the way we were built. Now, I don't mean that mean, but they're not built the way we're built. I never got a participation trophy for squat. My dad smacked me in the back of the head and said, try harder. So, you see that, and then you see the young generation who they spend time in the woods, maybe 5 or 6 hunts, and, they see one deer at 150 yards, and, this sucks. I'm never going again. So for me, if it means getting them out there, I don't care. I really don't. I mean, I'll tell you guys something I think you'll enjoy here before we go, and I think you'll love this. I got a call the other day, a guy that watches our show. He's an attorney out here in Pennsylvania, and he called. He said, "Big Sexy, we got to talk." I said, "What's up, brother?" He said, "I got a young kid out here, 18 years old, in a wheelchair, can't use his hands. He can't even put his head down on the gun to shoot. They got to rig up some, but he wants to hunt with you. There's nobody else he wants to hunt with. He wants to kill his first deer with you." And I said, "Give me a day, brother. I'll call off work. I'll quit my job. Whatever you need me to do. When it comes in an instance like that, we're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen." So let's just say I went up to a local embroidery shop. Chris and I has purchased something for the kid. When he's done, he's gonna be all Big Sexy outdoor, I assure you. And we're set up this week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday is our youth rifle season for does.
Nice.
So the goal is Thursday or Friday he should be set up and ready. And they're looking to make a trigger mouth censored. It's in the making. It's supposed to be done and ready by Thursday. They're pushing their luck right now because he needs time to at least shoot it. And they're looking at making a scope mount that he can see through a cell phone. You hook the cell phone up and he can watch a crosshairs through that. So it's all in the making.
That's what I got. I got one like that from my boy for one of the crossbows. It's basically just an add-on. You can put it on the scope. It screws on, tightens on the scope, and you've got about maybe a 4 by 3 inch TV screen to watch.
Yep.
And just so I can tell him, hey, a little more to the left. No, wait, that's not it. A little higher, a little lower, this, that, and the other. But yeah, and it's just a simple screw on. You can put it on, take it off.
That they have. That's ready. The biggest thing is, I guess, so they could buy one that's mouth censored. Okay, they could have done that. They make them. They're very expensive. But the grandfather wants to make it himself. So it's been in the process. It's, again, a blacksmith. And he said, I can make it. I can design anything. So the grandfather, they say it's fired now, but it's still not right. So my fingers crossed. I took off of work this week. My fingers are crossed, so we get this kid out here and get a deer. The attorney gave me 250 acres of private land. He said, I have a ramp to go from my my tractor wagon right to a blind I have set up ready for you. I'm going to back you in, wheel him off. He's all yours, brother. So I am super stoked. And, that to me, that's what this shit's about. It's not about too many people are focused on, man, I shot a 250. Look, I shot a monster. I have pictures. I have it hanging up my dad's place. My dad's more proud than I am. And,
Same here.
I have a monster. I shot a 5-pointer one year with an 18.5-inch spread. The thing was a monster. Look, I get it. Like, I love big bucks, but it's not about that for me. It's never been about that for me. When it becomes about that for me, I'll quit hunting. To me,
we just went through our youth rifle season. This weekend was our youth rifle.
Yeah, ours too.
That's what it's about. I mean, tell me the time you spend with your son. Is it more important to you than the mount you put on your wall? Because I wouldn't believe you. Talking to you this hour, I've been talking to you. I wouldn't believe you if you told me that.
Yep. Hands down, and we film them every time, so we can look back at them.
Send your film. We'll get it up here, man. Send it here.
I'm a blue collar worker. Being a blue collared worker and working shift work. When you're on night shift as a dad, there's nothing better than looking back on your cell phone at videos you and your son had, or you and your kids had, fishing, hunting. So filming it is where it's at. Watch them smile, laugh. The photo he sent you was actually my son Hunter with his first buck 2 years ago at the age of 12, and that's really what we're focused on is our children, and that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have a contest going right now before we go with Covert Ops. You guys send your kids getting deer, send them photos in. It's titled Kids and Outdoors. Send them in to us. We had an adult win our Covert Ops bead package, and he don't want it. He wants it given to a kid. So
Cool.
at the end of October, we're going to take all them photos, put them on a wheel, and we're going to spin a wheel, and we're going to give that package to a kid. Right now, we only have 2 entries, and I get it. Season's young, whatever, but we want to get this wheel blown up by the end of October, so we got about 2 weeks left. So if you guys got pictures of your kids, you got stuff like that, get them. I don't care if you PM them to us, post them on our page. Dude, blow it up. We absolutely love kids in the outdoors. We love it. I don't care if they're fishing, hunting, hiking. You want to share it, you get it on there, or send it to us. We will get it on. I assure you that that's what we live for. Chris will tell you, we live for that stuff. We love it. Awesome. And we've been on here, man. We've been on an hour and a half, Chris. It's a good show. So I think in an hour and a half, we're going to have to call it. If we start losing viewers, you can see the viewers are starting to die off on the right side.
That's because we're not arguing over ethical stuff anymore. They realize that we're all on the same side here.
But yeah, you're probably right. And I absolutely love that you guys got on, and I super appreciate he's getting on. If you guys haven't, check out Gone Hunting. It's up on Kickstarter for 2 weeks. It's a hunting board game Chris and I created.
No, it ended.
What's that, Chris?
It ended.
Did it end?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, hop on our outdoor channel. Check it out anyway. We're going to put it back up. We're going to put it back up at some point. We created a hunting board game. We designed it. We designed it in the sense of if you have a rainy day at your hunting camp, we thought, how can family, again, we're always about kids. How can you spend time with your kids? How can you still want to do what you brought them to do? So we designed this board game hoping that we get that out there. And we didn't get, we had sponsors and people backed up and then they backed out. So it kind of screwed us. We needed 9,000 to order the game in. And I think we ended at 1,000. So we didn't order it in yet. But we're not quitting. We're still in on it. We love the reason we're doing it. And we're going to fight to the end to get it done. But
before we get off here, I'm going to walk around and show you a little something about Oklahoma hanging on the walls.
That'd be awesome, man.
I'm in, man.
My wife won't let me hang things on the walls.
Oh, mine are in the garage at my house.
I don't have a garage.
Wait, are you talking about your wives, or are you talking about what's hanging on the wall?
Can't say on live TV on that one. Get me in trouble.
It's too funny.
Yeah. Oh.
I seen some of his pictures. I'm excited to see what he's got hanging on them walls.
Oh, I'm sure he's got some tanks hanging on the wall.
This is the one, and it got scored at 173 2/8.
Wow. What a pig.
I still got to cape it out.
This one was right over 140. And then this one here I got scored. This one here I got scored at Oklahoma, Rag Madness. And he's sitting at number 5 in Comanche County.
Wow.
And they kind of messed up. They put his net score in there, and it was 154. But his gross was 168.
We can show him number 3.
So what you're saying is Big Sexy Outdoors has to come out to your place is what you're saying. Is that what I'm hearing?
Come on down.
Which one? This one right here. That's number 3, typical.
Oh,
he's a beauty.
is that dual browse?
It is.
That's the number 3 in Comanche County. Typical.
And the brows were deduction.
The brows were a deduction, really?
Yeah. We're only allowed to have one brow tine. If you have split brows, even if it's symmetrical, it's a deduction. That buck scored 160, but after the deduction, he was 140,
144.
Yeah, 145 or something like that.
Oh, my God.
Huh.
Our rules on Cy Curtis are a little different. Like if his G2s, yeah, if his G2s had kickers off of both of them and it matched and it was symmetrical, the G2s can only be scored. The kickers are abnormal points; they get deducted.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, that doesn't make any sense to me.
That's more your average Oklahoma buck, really.
Yeah, that's a nice one too.
Nice buck too there.
They're all beautiful.
This harvest means a lot to me because my son Hunter was 9 years old and we was in the blind for about 30 minutes when this buck came by, and he's the one that seen him, and he said, "Dad, that's my deer." He wasn't old enough to get him, but I harvested him with him, and he claimed him.
Did he at least gut him out for you?
Oh yeah, he stayed there.
You hand him the drag rope, right? You made him drag it?
Oh no, he carried all the. We had to pack into that property. We had to pack in about a half a mile, so I drug the deer, and he carried, of course, the backpacks and everything that I had with me while I was dragging. So he had his hand full too.
That's awesome, man. That's what it's about. I mean, I'll say, oh my Lord.
This is all high fence stuff.
He's got an eBay problem.
I buy from a lot of high end collectors.
Oh man!
I buy from a lot of high end collectors also. This is from Bull Basin Ranch.
Wow.
In Colorado.
Oh.
But Michael brings me his whitetails because he wants free euros done for the capes, so he gets free work from me. I'm free labor.
There you go.
It's hard to beat cheap.
Hey man, one hand washes the other, right?
That's
he gets
right.
A cake, you get a euro. That's how this works.
I love it, man. Those are some beautiful bucks, I tell you. So here in PA, you're about, I'd say your average is about 150, 160. That's about what we're at. Now, I'm not saying we don't have monsters. I actually have a picture. If you guys jump on our webpage, a lady that lives, Chris, 4 towns from us? I think it's 4 towns, just killed one 24 and 7/8 spread or 5/8 spread. I mean, this thing, if you see this buck, this thing is ridiculous. And the story of it is her husband's dad died, bought the property, and died. And he left the property and said, all I want you to do is make memories. The guy messaged me and said, can you put this photo up on your page? Because my dad's still here. I thought that was really cool, man. I thought that was, that's what it's about. It's all about family. It's about memories, friends, your kids, your dad, your mom. I mean, that's why God gave us this beautiful earth, man.
Yep, absolutely. No, it is funny, like, where we're hunting most, like I said, 150 class deer is a damn big deer, and there's guys that have been slamming those things, here, there, and everywhere. But probably about an hour, I'm gonna say southwest of here, I have a client, young girl, started hunting with her dad about 14, 15 years old. Finally gets to sit in her own spot, 16, and she shoots a 200-inch deer. I mean, boom, smokes this thing. And everybody's going, oh, you got to get it mounted. You'll never get a bigger one. Well, come rifle season, doesn't she smoke a 220? I mean, this thing is huge. And the girl's name is Dana Scott, and she's from upstate New York, and she's from Claverack. And she's been killing, the smallest buck she killed was a 14-point. I mean, she has been just slaying monsters on this private piece of land they got out. I swear they buy them from Texas or one of these high fence places and literally turn them loose and then just go hunt them. I mean, they might. I don't know. but the trophy wall at their house is incredible. And
So I think here a nice buck here is probably 125, 130. That's a nice typical 8-pointer, and that's
Cy Curtis is 135. So your goal really is around that 130, 135 for a mature buck.
Yeah, I mean, most of the deer that you're going to see in this area, well, most of what's getting shot in this area is 2.5-year-old bucks. You know, if they're making it 3.5, 4.5, they're hunting where I'm hunting, and that's way back in the sticks. I mean, we're hiking in. One of my hikes one time was 11 miles. I mean, we were 11 miles back in hiking in, and I shot a nice 9-point in that deal. And I drug him all the way out. That was before I knew how to backcountry backpack him out of there. That was a game changer for me. Dragging a deer 11 miles, 6.5 hours one way out was not fun.
That's a totally different geography deal than what we've got here.
Yeah,
I mean, it's flat here. And like I said, you'll have one owner might have 5 acres, another one will have 40. The next guy, he might have a half section next to you, but it's all fairly accessible. You might have a small wood lot. Maybe a couple dozen acres that you might have to drag to the edge of it till you can get your side-by-side or even just your regular old truck to. But there's no, mountains to climb, valleys to cross, 10, 11 miles in, none of that stuff.
But our biggest advantage isn't the feeders. It's the tacticams, the cell cams. They let us know when they're showing up, where they're at. If I have myself 4 different places I can go, and I can watch that. The Tacticam sends me all the activity on all them different places, so I know, okay, this place had deer more so than this other, so I'm going to take my son there. So as far as being successful, the Tacticams they're a game changer for us. And there's other companies out there, not just Tacticam, but and all like I go out by myself per se, and I'm sitting on a section of land. I'm in my blind in the middle of the section, and let's say it's on a high point to where I'm looking at, 600 yards all the way around me on a slick hill. But I have 3 feeders on this section on different locations, and they all have Tacticams on them. I'm hunting 4 different places pretty much.
Yeah,
I'm out there by myself, up high on this slick hill in my blind, watching my cell phones going off and showing me what's in the other locations. At that point, it's just about getting the wind right and doing a spot stop. So it's not the feeders, it's the Tacticams or the cell cams is the biggest advantage to the hunter if they have them.
Now, see,
you can set them Tacticams up. You can set them Tacticams up on natural trails wherever, as long as you get a signal. Bedding areas, if you can get in without busting a mature buck out, because if you bust a buck out of a bedding area and he's a mature buck and you do it more than once, he ain't coming back.
No doubt. I can honestly say
that me and Michael, that's our biggest change was years ago when they came out with those. It helped us really pattern some of these more mature bucks out coming and going.
I run 6. I got 6 cameras that I run.
Yeah, and I have 3. I have 3 cameras. We're very fortunate to have permission from private landowners, and we have other leases. So we're not out of pocket a lot of money leasing land. We just have good relationships with landowners.
Yeah, I'll go round up cattle, fix fence.
Yep, fix water leaks if they have water lines bust. If they have a barn door blow off because of high wind, we show up to help them put doors back on tracks. And we do that aside from being blue collar workers. So, and I do taxidermy on the side. I work at Goodyear Tire Rubber Company, and last year I had 120 European heads at my house on top of working 12-hour shift work. So, I mean, you do all that, and then you want to go hunt. Them Tacticams make it real nice for that 1 or 2 days a week. Yeah. You get to hunt go 1 day a week or 2, maybe 2 days.
Yeah. I don't want to take my kid to a dead stand or where they're coming in at night all the time. I don't want to take him there and he doesn't see nothing. And then the next time I ask him if he wants to go, hey, you want to go hunting? No, I don't want to.
Yeah, it's just like fishing. You don't want to go take your child catfishing where there ain't no catfish or, it's the same scenario, same thing. Anything to get them off the PS4s,
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. Yeah.
But my name's Corey Bishop, and I sent you a deal, Big Sexy, to follow you.
I appreciate that.
Michael, first time I heard of you when Michael called me, because he has his deer over my house, and he said, "Pull that thing out of the freezer." I said, "All right."
Oh, too funny.
He wants me to cake that thing out, but I told him I'd do that on my time because I just got off a 12-hour shift today.
Right. Tell him if you don't want him to blow a hole in it, you're fine.
So
it'll sit right there.
You have to tell him you'll teach him how to do it, then you don't have to do it no more.
Oh, I don't think it's teachable.
I catch too many fish to be doing that.
Yeah, he's a noodler. He likes to go.
He's not teachable. That was good. I like that.
Yeah,
that was great.
Too funny. All right, guys. Well, I gotta get off of here and get cleaned up.
I appreciate it, gentlemen.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, and I'd love to come on, maybe do some. I know all of us like to cook differently and do different things, and we had just a chat or maybe some showing stuff, maybe some recipes here, there, everywhere.
Oh man, definitely.
Things like that, and maybe even how we hunt. I know, maybe even show some stuff, whatever. I mean, we hunt out of tree saddles and blinds and different things and whatever, and just hiking alone. So
yeah, stay in touch. We'll get you back on. I tell you that we definitely we're always looking to grow too, man. So you want to shoot some videos and send them to us? We'll get you on.
Yeah, we can do something like that. We could do something.
We love this stuff. Shoot us some videos, send it out. Chris is a phenomenal editor.
Cool.
We get some stuff up. We'll get some stuff going.
Cool.
We have if you jump on our Facebook page, you'll see we're in the middle of trying to release 7 different sauces as well.
Oh, nice.
So you'll see we have a game trying to get released. We have some sauces. We got a lot of stuff in the works and trying to get some hunting done. That's for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do some more duck hunting this coming weekend. So just let the deer lie for a little bit. I'm not in the mood. It's not cold enough here yet for me to get ready to start chasing them through the mountains. So
well, my lab likes to duck hunt, and I got 1 pup left. I'm just saying, I got 1 pup left.
I think after my poor old dog is gone, man, I think I'm done with dogs. I mean, they tie you down to where you're at all the time, and
that is true.
It's bad enough with the horses,
Mm-hmm.
So I think in most of the places we're hunting, I can wade or get a kayak or canoe in there anyways and retrieve stuff. And my dad raised chocolate Labradors when I was a kid, so I get it, and I do have a love for them, but more or less the maintenance of being tied to where you're at all the time. So
I feel that one.
It's a little rough, and I ain't got time to train a pup. I'd love to, but I just don't have the time for it. So, but good luck selling them. I'm sure it'll go to a great home, man.
Yeah, I have them all sold but one. I've been hanging on to one, so I'd probably just get rid of that one too. But I really can't have another one. But
you're gonna keep it.
I don't know, man. It's almost white. That's the only reason I'm hanging on to it, because it's almost white.
Too funny.
But listen, man, we appreciate you. We appreciate you guys getting on. We super do.
Absolutely.
I hope you check out our Facebook page, check out some of the stuff we were telling you about, and definitely look forward to having you. Stay in touch with us.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. And if I get any hunts videoed, I'll send them on over. You guys can post them up.
Sounds great, man. Thanks. Have yourself a great night. Thank you.
Yeah, you too, guys.
All right.
God bless.
God bless to you too, man.
All right. So, well, I guess that's we're going to call it a day. It's been a good long one. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting. I appreciate everybody coming out.
Hey, that's a great group of guys, Chris.
Yeah.
Those guys were great guys. They were super glad they came on.
Yeah.
I was really excited to have them. So,
yep. Yeah, I was hoping we would have had more, but it was still good. We had enough BSing and talking to go around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and we offered people to come in and join. They decided not to, but Mike's buddy jumped in, which was great to have him jump in and show off. And I just super appreciate it. I super appreciate everybody on, and I super appreciate all the comments and everybody. And guys, we're at 1:45, brother. And we're going to say God bless.
Yep.
And have a great night.
We'll see you.